graphics. Often, a person who has not had any videotape experience wants to use graphics that don't lend themselves to black and white TV. Keep in mind, this whole production on videotape would be much, much better if it were in color, just like the network news. We don't have anything in color. We do have a globe here, though, right behind me. And this particular globe, you have an idea of what a globe is. It has land masses and it has ocean, okay? The land masses are the darker colors. This particular thing has several different colors. There's 3 shades of green, there's 3 shades of gold, and there's at least 2 shades of brown with some black and red. There's no way I think you can possibly see that differentiation. So if I were to tell you I was going to talk about Asia, or if I tell you I'm going to talk about Africa, or I tell you I'm going to talk about South America or North America, you might be able to distinguish the huge outline of the whole country. But if I were to say we're going to talk about the Great Lakes region, notice that you can't even see the Great Lakes by my finger here. See the difficulty of trying to find the Great Lakes? It's in this area right here, okay? The point is that the globe, as large as it is, centered on the details here, does not provide a large enough graphic to pick up. It is best when you're going to use some sort of visual aid to have something written, such as a cartoon, a large map, a picture. Keep in mind you want black and white. Colors will not pick up, okay? It is also worthwhile to in some way plan your introduction. For example, if I'm about to introduce, or the purpose of this tape would be to introduce a musical. Let's say the musical is Godspell. That's one we had on our stage here at Ridgewood some time ago. I might tell you that it's going to be a student production, and there's a lot of effort going into this particular presentation. It is very helpful to make a graphic and have that graphic projected on the screen. And the size of your graphic, I'll compare it to my hand. Notice the size of my hand, the size of the letters. Okay? Here's the palm of my hand. Notice that the face in this particular graphic, cartoon, black and white drawing, if you will, is the same size as my hand. Just the face. The hair makes it larger. Notice the size of the letters. Going from the G on the left to the L on the right, notice that it's 4 fingers high, okay? A very broad letter. Even in the center, the small s is 3 fingers high. You need to make your graphic rather large so that it can be picked up by the television monitors and projected at a reasonable size into the TV monitor that you as a viewer are looking at, okay? If I were, on the other hand, to use something printed and just hold it up in front of me like this, regardless of what this says, even as the cameraman tries to focus in and bring it closer, it's extremely difficult to read. Also, notice the difficulty of holding it. I'm blanking out some of the letters, okay? You don't want anything this small. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is the microphone itself. Notice how my voice level is changing as it becomes closer and further away from the microphone, okay? If you have a situation where your microphone is stationary, which is to say that it just sits in the same location, notice that as I bend down perhaps to read my notes how much louder it gets, and then as I get away how much softer it gets. Now listen to what is going to happen as I move away. Whether or not you can hear me, notice how my voice begins to soften. If that didn't pick up, what I was telling you is that my voice is softening. Okay, it's moving away. What happens is you are then tied to your microphone. Whereas if you put the microphone on your person and clip it on, wherever you go, the microphone is with you, okay? Now as you move around a lot, it becomes more difficult for the cameraman. Notice the cameraman has to follow me, okay? And as I walk closer, how out of focus I can get real quick and then come back. You make it extraordinarily difficult for the man to work with you. Keep in mind, he is doing everything he can to assist you. You have to do some things to assist him also. One thing we have at Ridgewood, fortunately, are these clip-on microphones. and you clip them right on the front of your shirt. Another thing to remember, t-shirts are very poor for this particular presentation, not because they're informal, but because there's no place to clip the microphone. A second thing you might want to do, and this may look a little bit strange for a moment, okay, is you can take the microphone and this whole cord that goes with it and slide the microphone up the front of your shirt if you wish to conceal this cord. I'll show you how that's done. Very simply. Take the microphone, bring it up under your shirt. Now you've got this little doodad, okay? And that's the only thing that shows. Again, I'll show you the difference. On the TV news, people like Walter Jacobson and Bill Curtis and some of the others usually bring this inside their shirt, of course, inside their shirt. They wear suits and ties. They bring it out between the buttonholes, okay, and clip it onto their necktie. In big-time TV, which is definitely what 10 o'clock news shows are, typically they wear two microphones just in case the sound on one goes dead because they're broadcasting live, okay? But in this sense, do you see how it's placed right here on the shirt? It's laying against my person. The clip is very firm. The cord doesn't show. All right. The camera itself. We have, so far in this particular videotape, we've shown you what happens when you don't pay attention to your cameras, in the sense that you have probably noticed that the camera man has switched cameras not necessarily at the same time I am ready for him to. So I may be looking at one camera, he may switch to another camera, and I'll be looking at the wrong camera. Right now I am not looking at the correct camera. Notice the difference between my looking at one camera rather than the camera that's facing me. When this occurs, it's easy to note because typically the cameraman is giving you a signal, and I'll show you what that's like. But you can train on a little red bulb that's above the camera. Perhaps I'll show that to you now. Notice as I'm moving, a cameraman has to follow me where I'm going. Now right now I have my back to the camera. There's no way he can pick me up effectively. So that if I really want to move in some manner that is attentive to my audience, I'll have to move in a manner that my face is still with the camera. In this case also, I've got this trailing cord with me, this microphone attached to my person. I need to be somewhat conscious of this coming with me, okay? But there's a lot of cord here. All right. I am now going to pretend I am the person helping you in AV. This is a camera that you're looking at, okay? On top of the camera, if you can pick this out, there's a little light. You've seen the light here, okay? This little light means this camera is on. If the light is off, and you've just seen the change in the luminescence, okay? When this light is off, there's no point looking at this camera. Right now, as I am looking at this camera, okay, you can see my face with the light on. But when that light goes off, and you get another camera angle, now I am looking in the same place I was a moment ago, but I am no longer being picked up in the same manner I am. What happens then is that a man behind the camera will do some things like, with this light on and myself projected someplace over there, he will give me some motion, something like this, to attend me to the idea that another camera is going to pick me up, okay? And then at that point in time, I'll switch to another camera. And I will look to the camera that is lit, okay? What I'm doing here is overemphasizing the idea you must pay attention to a red light. Also notice that as we're going from camera to camera, you're getting different visual ideas. It's much more entertaining, and more than that, it's much easier to watch a given program if you're not looking at the same thing constantly. If I were to stand here in front of you with this particular angle for 30 minutes and not do anything else, I don't know of anyone who'd be able to spend that amount of time looking at what in essence is a photograph. All right. There are some other things the cameraman will help you with, okay? There will be a cart in AV.